Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm actually recording this video in advance because I'm not going to be making a video on Thanksgiving. I'm actually just making this the day before Thanksgiving. So as you can see up here, it says 11/23/22. We're going to be going over the current radar conditions that are actually from the past. We can see that this is all moving up northward, and we can expect this to maybe spread in through tomorrow, in through a lot of these areas. So that's kind of why we're looking at all of this to see how it's going to kind of redirect itself as of tomorrow. We do have some cold fronts up here, and we can expect that maybe by tomorrow these will be located more along down here, potentially meaning colder air for these areas. So there is a couple of things that make this a reasonable thing to be talking about, but I don't want to spend too much time on this because obviously this doesn't have a whole lot to do with what's currently going on by the time you're watching this video, but maybe a little bit. So just for some context, this is what's going on as of last night from the time you're watching this video. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about the modeled guidance, where we will really dive into Thanksgiving Day and even the next few days after that as well. Now, as we can see, we're going to bring this just towards, I would say this is right around 5 a.m. So for the early birds on Thanksgiving, this is right around what we'd be seeing. Still some precipitation here across the south central United States here. As we can see, Texas, Louisiana, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana, they're experiencing some of these stormy conditions in here that we've been seeing on the current radar imagery that I just showed you guys a minute ago. We can also see up here for the Rockies, some more snowfall happening. Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and even down through New Mexico as well. And then we can see a little bit of showery activity here, maybe across portions of the southeast. As we roll in towards about 8 a.m., it's going to be a lot of the same snow showers still around here for the Rockies. These thunderstorms and showers still happening across the south central United States, and more of these southeast showers still occurring in there. Now, by the time we're reaching around noontime, which, let's be real, it's right around when dinner is being served on Thanksgiving. Again, not really sure why that's always the case, but it is always the case. So your Thanksgiving dinner is going to be served probably right around 1 p.m. If your family is anything like mine, which I find hilarious. But I get it, it's a very early day, and that's usually when everybody's kind of available to be doing things like that. And everybody wants to be home for the evening, if that makes sense. We have snowfall showers still around for portions of the Rockies here. We still see some showers and thunderstorms, maybe even more than we saw before actually happening here for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, perhaps Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois as well. Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and maybe Kentucky in there as well, experiencing some of those showers. As you can tell, most of the nasty weather is happening in here. We do have some passing mixed showers for northern Minnesota there, and still coastal southeastern United States dealing with some of those showers. Now, as we reach a little bit later in the afternoon, we see a lot of this storminess still continuing on for the south central United States. Not a huge surprise there. Pretty much everything is continuing towards the afternoon. Now we're reaching about maybe 3 or 4 p.m., so that's kind of when the later dinners are happening on Thanksgiving. This is right around when we will be seeing all of this storminess in the south central United States coming together more. We can see the snowfall here is connected with these thunderstorms and showers, but all of these states dealing with storminess in here. So if your area is covered with a color here, there's a good chance you'll be dealing with some precipitation by this point, right around 4 p.m. here on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 24th. Now, the southeast, it's spreading in these showers a little bit more here by this point, a little bit later afternoon. And we can see some passing showers here across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes there. Now, as we can see for Friday, this is maybe actually approximately 10 p.m., 11 p.m. time frame on Thursday, so the very end of Thanksgiving here. We can see more of these showers across the southeast building in. We can see all of this storminess is kind of connected up through the Great Lakes here, where there's lighter showers, both snowfall and rainfall happening. And as we reach the deeper south here, like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, we're seeing actually some heavy thunderstorms in there, perhaps Thanksgiving evening here when the final NFL game is going to be happening, Patriots versus Packers. So we will be seeing some heavier thunderstorms approximately around then. Now, New Mexico here, heavy snowfall happening in there. Maybe even crossing over the Texas border as well by that point. So very interesting stuff. Now, Let's just roll you through the temperatures that we're going to be dealing with here on Thanksgiving. I'm just going to go with the high temperatures here, and we will be dealing with some above normal temperatures in here for the eastern United States as a whole, but especially here across the Ohio Valley and into the deeper south. You can see there is a couple of blue areas that we're just going to kind of ignore because they're kind of outliers at this point. But all of the red areas in there are going to be dealing with 10 to 15 degrees above normal temperatures. And then across kind of the Rockies into the Four Corner states below normal temperatures. And once again for the western United States above normal temperatures. So we're going to split the country up and try to actually get some actual temperatures on our screen. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the actual temperatures out west. These are the high temperatures on Thanksgiving. We can see a lot of 40s, 50s, and perhaps 60s up here for the northwest coast. But as you work your way inland, we get much more 40s and 30s here just to the west of the Rockies. And then we can tell a lot of the Rockies, even the high temperatures here, are going to be in the 20s, perhaps even lower 20s, upper teens. So certainly below freezing for a lot of these red areas in there. Now across the southwest regions here, so I'm talking Arizona, coastal southern California here, we're going to be dealing with 50s and 60s in the valley, more inland areas, and then perhaps 60s and 70s here for the southwest coast of California there, Southern California. Going to be much nicer for a lot of these areas. Now, let's go ahead and take a look real quickly at the east here. Again, this is our high temperatures, and we can tell that for the southeast, we're going to be dealing with mostly, well, if you split it up like this will be our 60s zone, 60s with some 50s mixed in zone for this area here. The zone here to the south, so a lot of the areas south of this area here is going to be in the 70s and even 80s down here for Florida, but no surprise there. So 70s, I would say just about like this. So 70s and 80s for a lot of these areas. And then I'm going to split up the 60s here. So everywhere in this zone is going to be 60s. And then above here is 50s. And we even have some 40s happening about north of that zone. So 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then our 40s, we even have 30s up here for some of the upper Midwest and also some of the Northeast as a high. And then for northern Maine here, even 20s. That area is crazy though, up here in northern Maine. I love that area of the United States. It's basically just a bunch of lumberjack villages up there from my memories as a kid when we drove through there. I just remember seeing a bunch of lumberjacks and just towns that reminded me of lumberjacks. Everything up there reminded me of lumberjacks. It is it's definitely a place I'd love to revisit. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is move back to the storminess here and just continue on. A lot of this storminess, by the time we're reaching Friday, is actually going to reach the eastern coast of the United States. We see some storminess moving in through the northwest as well. As we continue things on, we get another eastern storm here by Sunday the 27th here. So a lot of storminess happening up here in the eastern United States. Some storminess up in the northwest as well there by Sunday afternoon. As we continue things on, we get a much more major snowstorm than we've been seeing here. This is going to be Tuesday the 29th. We will have some snowfall occurring in there. And actually, this storm ends up being an eastern storm as well. Snowfall on the back end, perhaps for the Ohio Valley, as well as the Great Lakes. And then a lot of rainfall and other types of storminess happening here for a lot of the eastern sides of this 986 millibar low pressure center. 975 by the time it's reaching New England, certainly a very, very strong low. And the cold is wrapping back around like this as we have a cold front located about here. And there's probably a warm front right about here. So this is why we're seeing a lot of rainfall on this side of things. And a lot of cold air is able to infiltrate and influence this area of the storm, leading towards snowfall. Hope that makes sense. As things move on, we do actually get a couple of other snowstorms like this up here. Definitely an interesting pattern we find ourselves in. But regardless, it's a little bit quieter here, I would say. Now, for the total precipitation through the next 15 days, here we are taking a look at things. Anywhere in the whites would be practically no precipitation. Your grays about 1/10 of an inch or less. Your greens 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues 1/2 an inch to an inch. Yellows 1 inch to 2 inches. Reds 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns 5 to 10 inches of precipitation there. Now, total snowfall through the next 15 days here. Anywhere in the grays expecting a dusting, if anything. Blues 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples 6 to 10. Pinks 10 to 20. Your pastel blues there, 20 to 30 inches, and then your pastel pink's going to be 30 inches plus. We see some of that out west out here, and also for kind of eastern Canada in here as well. Now, let's move back. What we're going to do is we're going to move back to the entire United States view here. I'm going to go with the temperature anomalies again. We're going to switch back to this model run. We see that warm temperatures are going to kind of prevail through the early week, actually, until about December 2nd, which will be a Friday, when we see from coast to coast cold temperatures again returning for the United States. Some warmth by Monday is able to build its way back in, a southeast ridge perhaps. But we have another cold front and Arctic blast that rolls through around December 6th here. So this model is definitely trending at some cold, some warmth. Another Arctic blast right around the 8th here. And then we get another one perhaps on the way right around the 9th, which would be arriving around the 10th or 11th here for the eastern United States. But the important thing to note is I think this model is showing a lot more warmth through the next 15 days rather than cold, which I know that's going to be a little bit disappointing for a lot of folks there, but that's just the truth of it. That's what this model is showing as of now. We will have to track this. Tune in with us daily. Again, have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys in the next video.